Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of an unscripted and unchained RPG review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is going to be a recap of Session 2 of our Castles and Crusades Reforged from the Darkness campaign. So, if you didn't catch the last one, I encourage you to go take a look at it. It will be linked in this playlist. And I restarted a Castles and Crusades campaign, beginning uh, pretty much a new group of players. Some from my previous campaigns, but several new players to the group. And for the first time, I started a Castles and Crusades campaign set in the world of Aird, which is the official setting for Castles and Crusades. And I also integrated a new way of presenting these recaps to you by a suggestion of someone on my Discord channel. And they suggested that I use PowerPoint. And I really do enjoy doing that. It just takes a little bit longer to actually put these together. So without further ado, let's see where our adventuring party from the from the free town of Lunenburg, where their adventures have taken them thus far. So here we go, and as you can see here, let me just bring up my PowerPoint. Sorry. So Session 2. They are now traveling to investigate the ambush site. Now, the ambush site, if you weren't here in the last episode, there were 3 barges that were heading to the town of Lunenburg, about 2 days to the north, as they were taking a bend in the river, and they were attacked. They were attacked by a force of both goblins and ogres, and the sole survivor was a gnomish tinker from the town. And according to his account, they utilized hunters' blinds to conceal their positions on the banks of the river, and they used ballista, firing grappling hooks with heavy ropes or some kind of binding, and then the ogres had pulled the barges to the shore. Meanwhile, goblin archers were raining down arrows upon the those that remained on board, and during that assault, somehow the gnomish tinker managed to escape. He managed to avoid detection and escape from the attack, and then made his long journey of just about 2 days on foot, keeping to the banks of the river to get back in time to inform the powers of the City Council of Lunenburg. So the player characters were hired by 3 entities. They were hired by the Tinker. They were hired by the Ranger Lord Mayor of Lunenburg, and they were also hired by the priest of Tefnut, who felt that this attack on the shores, killing people both on land and on the river itself, is an affront to the deity of Tefnut, which is a deity of fresh waters and lakes and rivers and whatnot. So the players are heading out towards there, the player characters, I should say, are heading out there, traveling out towards that attack site. So as they begin approaching, now I already spoke about the night before in the last recap, and they did encounter some goblins in that last evening, but this takes place now on day two as they arrive at the site of the barges, and they can see the barges. They see one has been burnt, burnt down to its hull. Another has been capsized onto its side on the beach itself, and the third is nowhere to be found. They cannot see it from their vantage point. So the party finally makes it to the ambush site, nearly two true travel days in. Uh, they As they're approaching, they see that there are several corpses, and one they will confirm later on is a human corpse, but the other was livestock. It was a cow that was probably being transported on one of the barges, and but they see these giant crabs that are feeding off of a carcass, and they try to approach and they try to just shoo them away, and then a combat ensued. Only one of the crabs was actually scared by the druid approaching with her torch, trying to scare them off, and the other two, of course, just broke out and attacked. And even though the battle did not last very long, probably less than 5 minutes or so, there was quite a bit of a back and forth between the the various sides taking their turns, and Cadell, the cleric, was nearly slain during this battle, and it actually happened nearly twice. So the first time he was struck by a claw, a critical hitting claw, and he was brought to unconsciousness right from from that one attack. And fortunately for him, there was he was able to be healed up a little bit just to get him back on his feet again. All right, so the first aid attempt on him, the initial one failed, but then the second did bring him back up. Then, as the combat was going on, there was yet another time that the cleric was hit once again, and this time it brought him down into the negatives, and he started bleeding out. So once again, they had to go to his aid and bring him, first stabilize him and stop him from bleeding, and then once the battle was over, he was still not in very good condition, not conscious, and they knew that at that point that they needed to try to stay put for some time until he could start recovering, and until the other party members would actually have the means of getting him completely back on his feet again, and so that they can move in some direction, either heading on back or moving forward. During the time that they were starting to secure the area and started searching around the area, while searching the wreckage, the party collected several pouches of valuables and one chest oddly overlooked or discarded by the goblins and the ogre attackers. So the chest was kind of something that was kind of surprising that it was left behind, even though when they eventually picked the lock and opened it up, there were just 6 scroll tubes, all empty, 25 pieces of parchment paper, suitable for writing scrolls, making scrolls out of them. But the fact that the chest was just left there and locked was kind of odd that it was passed up. The other items that they picked up were small leather pouches that contained, in some cases gold, or there was one gemstone that was included in that, and even some platinum pieces. So there were some travelers on this, in this flotilla of three barges that did have some wealth attached to them. The players also know player characters. The player characters also knew that some captives were taking place, so they kept that in mind as well. While they were searching around, a lone survivor was discovered. A dog came scurrying out of the wreckage, and the druid, Bara Sage, and this is not a representation of Bara, unless she wants to take over this image for herself. But this was an image that I found that really reflected or matched up with what I was looking for what the dog would look like. So the druid Bara Sage first calmed the dog so that it would remain with her, and then later, the next evening, actually, she will go through and form a true companionship with the dog. So these are two druidic abilities that she has, spells that she has, that she was able to utilize in order to turn this dog into a companion, which is a whole different set of rules and content from Troll Lord Games for Castles and Crusades. So I'm really looking forward to further developing this aspect of gameplay with both Leah, who plays the druid character, but also with the rest of the party as well, so that they can see how this system kind of works together. So the night watch at the ambush site. So the party nearly made it through the entire night unbothered, but during the third watch, just 2 hours before sunrise, an intruder approached. It was a single goblin, perhaps a scout, or maybe what remained of a raiding party. They were never quite clear because they did not actually capture this goblin. They wounded him and he ran off. All right, so the goblin did not come within 30 yards before he was spotted. Both the fighter Ben, who was on watch, and the ranger Cormac engaged, but despite the fighters critically hitting the goblin with his javelin throw, and these are javelins that he had just picked up from the wreckage, so he didn't have these weapons to begin with, the goblin managed to survive and escape. The ranger missed an opportunity to take the goblin down before he fled into the forest. So now the party is kind of concerned that, hey, this goblin had just run off, and chances are it's going to make its way to to its lair perhaps, or its war party, or hunting party, raiding party, and might come back down onto them. So they were a little bit concerned about it. And in the morning, they started moving forward and looking to see if they can track this goblin and see what else they could determine. At that point, they actually discovered the blinds that were used and thrown down. And this is now almost 4 days later after the initial ambush. And yet they were still able to glean some information from here. They were looking over the view of the ambush now, and some things just weren't quite making sense to them. There was one thing while they were searching through, when they discovered a cluster of humans who were killed on one of the barges, not the one that was kind of still remains hull up, let's say, but partially burnt. And all of these humans victims were in a very tight cluster, and yet all of their necks were slashed, and they didn't show any other signs of struggle. So one of the thief, actually the rogue in the party, actually surmised that some kind of magic was placed upon them, and he surmised that, possibly even a sleep spell. And so now they started conjuring up the ideas that, no pun intended, that perhaps there was a shaman amongst the goblin and ogres that were utilizing magic in order to pull off this ambush as effectively as they had. So tracking the attackers. So here's a good depiction of the ranger. Again, he can choose to use this avatar if he wishes. So the adventurers, led by Cormac, began tracking the goblins and the ogres into the forest. Aided by the newfound dog companion of Barra, the party identified the correct path. He rolled a critical success on on his tracking ability, and there was three possibilities, and they may never find out what the other two would have led them to, but they accurately depicted or determined which was the one they wanted to follow. And as they started pushing further into the forest, and now they're about 150 to 200 yards inside the forest, they all started to have a sense of foreboding as they were entering in. And the forest had always had this reputation ever since the After Dark war, that the forest has a magical aspect about it to keep intruders out. And so that was kind of a sense that most of the party really couldn't quite put their finger on it, to understand what was going on. But two of the party members actually deciphered it as an aura that is meant to keep outsiders away. So they keep on pushing forward, however, and they, because they were encouraged by the fact that they know they're on the right trail. They know that they're going to not just retrieve the Tinker's tool set, which is one of the things that they were hired to retrieve, but also the Lord Mayor of the town and the priest of the Church of Tefnut wanted them to rescue any of those that were taken captive. So they started to move forward. They spotted what they believed to be the fortress or the lair of the goblins, and so they just hung back. They viewed it for a while, and then they pulled back several dozens of yards away to get a clearer idea of how they're going to proceed. So the party pulls back after discovering the ruins lair of the goblins and ogres that they sought, to rest for the night. They had several suspicions about their possible foes based on what they encountered and discovered thus far. They suspected that there were perhaps 24 goblins and at least 4 ogres based on their tracking and other accounts of the barge ambush. They suspected magic, as I mentioned earlier, was used during the ambush based on the cluster of corpses found, and they intend to assault the ruins at first light. So yeah, the party is really starting to gel just in its second session, and I'm really happy with the fact that they're seeing something, they kind of weighing their odds against it, and yet they're still looking to, we're going to drive forward at first light and try to take advantage of this situation here. So they have not yet gotten through the night. So that's then the next step that we're going to go through on Tuesday evening, and if they get through the night, then we'll see where their adventures take them as well. So I am going to switch back to our view and come over here. So it was a really, oh, I had one more thing. Sorry, forgot about the last slide. So let's go here, and so this is the summary. Totally forgot about this, and hopefully my picture is way up in the top corner here, so it's not in your view. I won't be able to tell until afterwards, I think. Yeah, I'm out of view. I can tell. All right, so session lasted just a little over 2 hours. I had brought this session to an end without pushing much further. It was already 10:30 p.m. And Tuesday night is still a work night. I still had work going through the rest of the week, and the next day was actually my wife's last day of school as well. So, but I really felt that at that moment it was best to stop the session because I did not want us to get involved with something that was going to take much more time than just the half hour to hour we would have had. So we stopped it there. The other thing is that I have 5 players in the group. One of the players could not make it, so I didn't want to go too far into a real story impacting situation without everyone present. So they each gained 200 experience points from just the session that they participated in. The combat experience was actually very minimal. It was just the one fight with the giant crabs that they had, and so they only earned 21 experience points each from that. The loot, I gave the full loot list here. So there was a large belt pouch with 18 gold and 2 platinum pieces. The chest and scrolls and all of that worth of roughly 43 gold pieces. The 3 javelins, the small bag with an onyx gemstone and such. So not a whole lot coming from the experience from the loot itself, but overall about 44 experience points there. The total for each of the 5 players who were present was 265, and 65 experience points for the player character whose player was not present. And that's how I will handle that kind of thing. I think that not giving session experience for someone who's not there is kind of fair, but if their character is being used, they will still get any combat and any loot experience that they would have gained if they were there. A special experience earned. So Barra, the druid, earned a plus 10 experience points from a critical damage that she had done. Anytime a player character does critical damage, in other words, maximum damage, and it's a significant situation that takes place, then they will get some extra experience points for that. Ben received 100 experience points because in 2 separate occasions, Ben rolled a natural 20, a critical hit. Dorian also gained a plus 50, plus 50 for a critical hit that he landed. Cadell earned 10 experience points for a fumbled heal roll. All right, so I do reward, oddly enough, for fumbles because I treat them as their learning experiences. And so that's how you gain experience from fumbles. Cormac received a plus 50 for a critical wisdom check and a critical tracking. All right, so for your skills, because you roll for your skills or attribute checks, you gain just 25 experience points for making those critical successes. And that was the last screen, so I apologize for forgetting about that. And I am going to go back to here and bring you on back over here. So so like I said, I'm really enjoying doing the PowerPoints as a recap. I hope that you're enjoying them as well, and you know, I hope that I've made it so it's a little bit more presentable. I took that image and, you know, that camera shot of myself and threw it up in the top corner, and I'm trying to make sure that that there's some movement in the slides as I go through them, so the image isn't always in one spot in the text. I try to move them back and forth a little bit, just so it has a little bit better presentation and whatnot. But I welcome your critiques and your comments and your you know, and your likes, and your even negative critiques are welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe, hit that like button, hit the alerts so that you get when new videos are dropping. Now I am going to hold off on Castles and Crusades videos on my channel. This should be video number 99, and I am saving 100 for when I get the new starter box set, the collector's edition starter box in my hands sometime this upcoming week. I really hope it arrives before I leave on vacation on July 8th. So hopefully it comes sometime next week. I anticipate that it should. And that will be one of the last videos I do before I go on vacation. So anyway, thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. As always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon or at a convention. My next convention will be ShireCon in September. That is in Connecticut. That is run by Tom Wilson. This will be the 4th time that I'm going to ShireCon, so it's very local con for me, less than an hour away. So I'm really excited about that. I look forward to seeing you there as well, if you can make it. As we get a little bit closer, once I get back from vacation, I will have Tom back on the channel so he can once again pitch ShireCon for you as well. And it's been a great last couple of weeks of gaming. Have new campaigns going on, and so I'm really excited about that as well. So you have a great rest of your weekend, and thanks for joining.